I've got two props for you from yesteryear. So I've been seeing people running these props a lot lately because they like the fact that they're a little efficient and they are really fast. And the theory is that because you only have two blades, you can spin up to higher RPMs because there's less drag. There's basically less blade to push through the air. So your motor can actually get it up to RPM easier. And because it's a 4/5 pitch, it should have a higher top speed than a 4 pitch. There is a tri-blade version of this prop. I believe that GemFan was the first one to actually design the blade of this prop, but DAL was the people that copied it and then made it a tri-blade. And there's kind of very significant differences between these two props. Even though they look the same, they have the identical profile, exactly the same specifications in all shapes and size. I actually think they weigh very similar. I haven't weighed them yet, but I'm guessing that the GemFan blade weighs probably 2 or 3 tenths less than the DAL blade. I might be wrong. They could be the same, or maybe the DAL is even lighter. Anyway, they weigh pretty much the same. These props have will have a very high response. I mean, I've flown them before, so I know what they're going to feel like. They have a very high response. Because you only have two blades, you have less control in general. That means down low, up high you have similar control because the blade is spinning so fast, but down low you don't have as much control because you cannot generate thrust quickly when the motor is transitioning from various RPMs to various RPMs. So I have not looked at thrust numbers for either of these props. I don't know what they are, but I can pretty much guess what they're going to give me. I don't really care how much thrust each one makes, but when I look at the flexibility of these blades, the DAL blade is definitely far more flexible than the GemFan blade. And I actually think that the GemFan blade will be more efficient because it's not like ringing out. And the DAL blade will be a little bit less efficient. The GemFan blade will definitely pull a couple more amps. But I'm assuming they're both going to be like around the 110 amp range, just because like they're twin blades and they don't have that much drag and they don't really do much. But the theory is that because you have two blades, you create less drag, your motors can spool up to higher RPM, and because you have the 4/5 pitch, that means you're going to get moving much quicker. That's the theory. So I don't know if that's true. I don't have a radar gun with me to test, but basically I'm just going to fly them and see what the performance is like on either one. All right, so the DAL blade was definitely slower than the GemFan, not this GemFan, but the GemFan 5152. Yeah, 5152. It did not really have a lot of punch. It didn't have great control, and it generally wasn't a great experience. I've flown this prop before, and I really didn't like it very much. And this is consistent with that. It doesn't really feel that great. It has good response, but the response is meaningless because it doesn't really generate much thrust at any range, really. It's not the slowest prop, but it's definitely not the fastest prop. I really wouldn't recommend this. The GemFan prop, I was surprised by. I have not flown this prop. This is the first time I've flown this prop, and I was really impressed with it. It performs significantly better than the DAL. They even sound different. The GemFan's quieter. The DAL is like zipping through the air, and the GemFan is more like a throaty, like throttle sound through the air. The GemFan blade definitely has more control. It definitely is faster. I want to say that the GemFan is probably this GemFan is probably faster or similar speed to the 51, 52 tri-blade that I just reviewed also. Yeah, so that's really interesting. This glass nylon material that they're using is like super duper stiff, so it's very durable. But if you do crack against the gate or the ground or something, this blade will crack and break. The DAL blade is much more durable, but considering I just flew both of them and the GemFan was so significantly better, I wouldn't fly the DAL blade at all. I don't even know how much they cost, but if I was to fly this blade, I would only fly the GemFan blade. This is actually a really good blade. Anybody that's running the DAL blade should not. They should run the GemFan blade. It's much better. Yeah, that's all I can say about this prop. One other thing, this prop is probably maybe okay on the 1407 3600 kV motor from Brother Hobby. Yes, people have recently been running that motor on 5-inch blades and have found that it can actually handle 5-inch blades, surprisingly, based on my theory that the stator height is much more meaningful for high kV. And that's really important because this prop really doesn't do much at low RPMs, and it only really works at high RPMs. And because it's low drag and it's so light, it's really easy to spin up to high RPM, where the 7mm 1407 stator height takes over and does a much better job of supporting the RPMs and managing the transitions. So that's interesting. Also, another blade I would try on that motor is the Racecraft 3038, which might also be very good. Basically, on that motor, if you're going to run 5-inch, you got the choice of 4 blades, really. You can try this blade, the Racecraft 3038. You can try the 5x4x3, just all the variants of the 5x4x3 by HQ, which probably isn't going to be your ideal race blade, but it might be good. Who knows? And then the 4th blade that you can try is the 5x4. Just a simple 5x4 or just a simple GemFan 5x4.5 blade, which are really thin and narrow, which are not really interesting blades, but maybe they'll be better because they're lighter blades.